no hesitating. When you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feel this, we'll take in the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feel this, we'll take in the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Good evening. I like that clip. I like that music. Nothing's stopping us, and that's good. With everything going on, we're going to stay positive, kind to each other, and we're going to keep on going strong. Okay. So that's my introduction for today. Today's topic is going to be, and this is going to be a good one. Last week was a Blue Ribbon episode. I think this one will be Oscar worthy. And the question is, and I sent it out in my newsletter this week, our topic, are we in a housing bubble? And that's going to be the question for today. And there's a lot of things to discuss about this, okay? So let's just show my little introduction. I have to do this, okay? I seem to be having a little problem with some of the streaming of the video. It's depending on if there's a problem with the internet, if there's so many people on it. Sometimes the video gets a little delayed. I apologize for that. I seem to hear some of it breaking up. So I truly apologize. So the big question is, are we in a housing bubble? Because we have these home prices that are skyrocketing, and and it's going higher. The purchase prices, or the contract price that the buyer and seller finally come to an agreement with, may be, and most likely will be, higher than the appraised value. Now, the number one thing to discuss right now, since we're on that topic with appraised value, that's one big difference. Because back in 2007, 2008, a lot of the appraisals were coming in a lot higher. All right, the price was truly inflated, but the appraisers today are being more tight about it, and this is good. They're saying, okay, prices are going up a little higher, but we're not going to shoot them up on the appraised value. We're going to keep them at a certain level, which is a good thing. All right, because it's protecting the whole economy of it. All right. Now, to talk about what happened in 2007, number one, many people were buying homes that they definitely could not afford. Okay. And to give you an example, and this is using the variable rate mortgage or the adjustable rate mortgage. Let's say there was a mortgage that went from 2% up to, and let's say 7%. All right. And at 2%, the buyer was eligible for that mortgage. But once the mortgage went up to 7, they couldn't afford it anymore. But the mortgage loan officer was basing that approval upon that lower rate, and not looking at if that person all of a sudden, with their current income, and of course hopefully it goes up a little bit, but with the current income, if all of a sudden that mortgage went up to that 7%, could they still afford it? And that's what they did not do. That's something that they did not do in 2007. They were basing it upon only the lower rate. So once that mortgage began to creep up with adjustable rate mortgage, and there's always a cap, all right? So if they say it only could go from 2 to 7. But a lot of times, there's a big difference in your monthly mortgage payment between the 2% and the 7%. And once it hit the 7%, they couldn't afford it. What loan officers are doing now, if you're getting an adjustable rate mortgage, they are making you eligible based upon that higher rate. So even though you're not paying that right now, and you may not pay that higher rate in years, they're basing upon your income, if you could afford that rate now, up to, let's say, 7% in our example. So that's a good thing. And there are other things that are involved, where we had back then a lot of hard lenders. And these were people or companies that were working with applicants who had like C and D credit. And they're pretty much out of existence right now. And they had a lot of weird lending techniques. And they also had these, if you defaulted maybe in the first couple of payments, they owned the house. So it was a little underhanded. It was, there were other things built into it that, that's a whole other broadcast that we go into. But the hard lenders, the super hard lenders, are really not out there right now. There are hard lenders that will lend you money when you're buying something for an investment, and they're getting, these big fees off of it. That's something else. We're talking about owner occupied. And I really don't know why I keep going in and out with my camera. Let me just move it a little bit. Okay. Having technical difficulties today. But anyway, going back to that, the lending rules are a lot tighter now, which is a good thing. And I know it sounds sad that people would see Indeed credit can't get a mortgage right now, but the reality is the ones who had the poorer credit were most likely the ones that defaulted on it. So instead of giving a mortgage to someone with CD credit, loan officers now give you advice on how to increase that credit. Okay, whether or not you have to pay down a certain amount of debt, you had to pay off some collections or whatever, but they will guide you in doing this. And when it first happened, they used to charge you for it. And some may still, if letters have to go out to collecting agencies and asking for a better deal, whether they could cut the amount in half on what you owe, or give you an installment plan. If they really negotiate on your part, they're writing letters, they're talking to it, you may have to pay a fee there. Okay, but in general, these loan officers are giving you advice on what to do and how to quickly get that score up. And it's not anything underhanded. They're giving you advice because they know which credit agencies report faster to Experian, TransUnion. I can't think of the letter. I can't. I'm having a senior moment. I forgot the name of the third one. But they are working. They know which cards will report faster, and by the amount you bring down your credit limit, okay, or your balance, they know how much that will give you in points to bring that score up. All right, so it's not anything like changing your social security number. It's not anything like that. It's just doing smart stuff to give you an idea how to do it. A lot of people say, "No, I'll do it on my own," whatever. Let them help you, all right? Because they'll tell you where to go first, to pay down your credit. If you have extra money, you need to be making at least your monthly minimum payment. But they'll say, "Hey, if you got a little extra cash here, pay down your Citibank Visa first." Your MasterCard, whatever, okay? And they'll point you in the right direction. So, and also in 2007, we had a recession. We kind of have a recession now, but it's not based upon economic policies or economic problems. Okay, the problem was COVID-19. There really wasn't anything else. Prior to that, the economy was chugging along, and actually it's still chugging along. The biggest problem is getting people back to work, and the ones who are mostly out of work are your hospitality industries, right? Because people are not going anywhere right now. They're beginning to go back. So your hospitality area, you're including hotels and restaurants, okay, and your entertainment area. People are not going to shows right now. And then you have your restaurants around that where people go afterwards. Okay, they're not making money. Your parking lots are not making money. All right. So your vendors, people at the ball games who sell hot dogs, right? No one's making that money. So that's the segment of the society that has to get back to work. All right. But the people who have the type of jobs where they could continue to work, and a lot of them are able to work at home, they've been doing well. All right. And actually, because they did not go anywhere for a year, they didn't go on a vacation, they didn't go to Europe or to the islands. They haven't been eating out weekly at expensive restaurants. They have a little bit more moolah now. And that's the reason why, too, when it comes to competing with homes, they have a little bit more cash in their hand and could offer more money. All right. So it's not like that right now in 2007. The biggest thing, and as I showed the reports, is housing supply. And one of the big reasons why we don't have enough housing supply, because many people are holding on to their homes. They wanted to move, okay, but they didn't want a lot of people walking through their house during COVID-19, with fears that people are spreading the virus. And so they held back from putting homes on the market, all right? So let me bring up my text for today, all right? And I need to move it up. So we see here, this isn't a bubble, it's simply lack of supply. All right, and I had this Friday on my blog, Real Estate with Mr. G blog. All right, and this is coming from the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, Chief Economist Lawrence Yun. This is not a bubble, it is simply a lack of supply. So I highlighted the important parts here. When addressing whether or not today's high buy competition and rising home prices are evidence of a housing bubble, Yoon said that this is not a bubble, it is simply lack of supply. Today's housing market is healthy and rising prices are driven by real buyer demand, okay? It's not appraises, and I'm not blaming all appraisers in 2007, but giving them a higher market value, and it's not having lenders giving mortgages to people who really couldn't afford them. It's a different time period, okay? So let me move this down a little bit. Now, this actually is kind of the article that it came from. This is from Axios, and it came out actually today. And even though I didn't highlight here this kind of topic, why all bubbles burst, real estate in particular tends to rise in value much more easily than it falls. Besides the National Association of Realtors Chief Economist Lawrence Yun, this is not a bubble, it's simply a lack of supply. All right, and what he does here, he's showing you the total number of active listings this week is down a record 54% from the same week a year ago. That's a lot, 54%, okay? Almost half of homes now sell within 1 week of being listed, and this is so true. This is the problem I'm having with my buyers. They're giving me listings that they want to go see, and by the time I double check to make sure it's available, there's a contract on it. And here they're giving the example of Austin, Texas. The median listing price has risen 40% in 1 year to $520,000. That's a big jump, right? You see prices go up 3 to 6% in a year. 40% is really, really big. So the reason why we have this is a combination of factors. And the big one is lower mortgage rates, a pandemic-era construction slowdown. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, a lot of construction companies have employees who have COVID. All right, so they're working with less of a staff. Also, many materials for construction are difficult to get, and the prices have gone up. Don't forget when you're buying wood that has to be manufactured, right? So that goes from the lumberjack, going out there cutting it down, and it goes to the mill, and it's cut down, and then it's made into 2x4s or whatever. All right, and these places that do it do not have the amount of employees that they had before. All right, but why is there such a strong demand? Large corporations buying up homes. Okay, now yeah, here's talking about over here. What's also hurting the market is that financial buyers, like large corporations, are buying up homes to rent them out. It's only making the market tighter and decreasing the number of owner-occupied properties available. So besides people not listing their house because of COVID, the ones that are available, a lot of corporate buyers are out there and buying them to actually rent them out. Okay, but on this area here, what's missing, and this is a good thing, unlike the mid-2000s, the time around, now some of this got knocked out, but what basically is saying people are not doing condo flipping. People were buying condos in 2007 or prior to that, like they were buying shares of stock, buying them and then reselling them as fast as they can and see what profit they could get. That's, I mean, unless it's like a rehab where it's run down, you buy it at a lower price, you fix it up and then sell it completely renovated. But these are people who are basically trading condos that were in good shape as if they were stock, okay? But they said there's some good news over here that rents have not been rising as fast as the prices. I think that's a good thing. But what's happening, home buyers are the biggest losers. In order to win bidding, a lot of these buyers pushed into risky decisions. For instance, they're not doing any type of financing contingency or right to inspect the property. And that's a big problem. Not doing the home inspection, and I'm seeing that. I'm seeing, houses that were on the market and then in a couple of days they're pending. And usually, pending usually happens, or most of the times happens, when your contingencies are off of it, the main one being a home inspection. So you have a ratified contract contingent upon the home inspection, meaning that we're in agreement on the areas. It doesn't mean that the problems with it. Every house has some sort of problem. All right, it's usually, many times it's minor, but it's something that has to be repaired. Sometimes the seller will hopefully do that. Okay, and then the buyer picks up some of the repairs, and we work that out. And once that's, in a sense, ratified, you're heading to closing, and then it goes to pending. A lot of people are foregoing that, and to win the bid. Because, for instance, let's say you have two buyers with the same offer. Let's say $200,000. They're not asking for closing costs. But one is not asking for a home inspection. Okay? So everything else is equal, but the home inspection. So you say, well, if I go with the one with the home inspection, they might find something wrong with it, and then they're going to want me to fix it. Bada bing, bada blah, la 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 la, blah blah blah. I'd rather go with the one without the home inspection. This way, it's slam dunk. Let them, once they own the house, let them fix whatever. I don't want to be bothered with it. All right, and that may not be a good thing unless you have lots and lots of money, and if there is any type of damage to the foundation, if the heating and cooling system is not working, and you have plenty of money to fix it, then I guess it's okay. All right, but I think it definitely you should do the home inspection, because like right over here, I hope you can see me circling it. The worst thing is that you buy the house and you find out it's hundreds of thousands of dollars in repairs. You really don't want that. Okay. Then he adds the worst case scenario, and I'm talking about urine, and it got cut off here. But what's happening as people go back to work, and they're getting their incomes back, and they would like to buy, there will be actually more people in the market to look for homes. You have even more competition. All right. Now, what could come of this? Well, based upon President Biden's infrastructure plan, he likes to build, or he wants to build affordable housing. So where we can't make it up or make up the supply with resale homes, we could make it up with housing, brand new construction. And hopefully to make it affordable. Back in Brooklyn, as that's where I'm from, where it went through this gentrification, everything was luxury homes. They were building luxury co-ops. Co-ops are very big up there. And nothing is that affordable. So I'm saying, gee, I hope there's a lot of people coming in that have really good incomes. But to build affordable housing, I really hope that happens. All right, so we're going to move down here. So what other things can be done? All right, and actually, let me see. I'm going to go back to my, where you are looking at me, because actually when I have this up here, so let me go to my caption. So if you look down here, it's not the same as 2007. We have stricter lending guidelines. The economy is stronger. All right, it's moving along. The problem is that we have people out of work, but not because of economic reasons, because of COVID-19. So what we're going to go here, how to increase housing inventory. So this is where it gets a little tricky. There's going to be some debate over this. It could be from Republicans, it could be from Democrats, but whenever you have increasing taxes, it's usually when the Republicans get upset. And I'm not saying, I'm not putting any favor to either one. You make the decision, but I'm talking about historically how things go about. So, but one thing and the Republicans might like, the federal government could quickly incentivize owners of existing homes to sell using one or a combination of carrot-based or stick-based approaches. Using a carrot-based approach, opening a temporary window of capital gain exemptions would incentivize owners of investment homes with capital gains, as well as owner-occupiers with over $250,000 to $500,000 in gains to sell. So, if we take away that big tax that has to be paid on capital gains, especially to people who have properties as investment properties, and to get them to sell to create more inventory for occupant buyers. That's something good, and that's something where also Republicans could agree on. All right. So capital gains exceptions, what they might also do. Now, this is something where Republicans may be against. I'm, assuming. Another creative proposal to shake up the system is to make it more expensive and less profitable to be a single-family home landlord. All right. Alternatively, stick-based approach might raise taxes on single-family rental income, implement nationwide rent control, and reduce bulk ownership of single-family homes. Okay. Now, that's not including people who are owners of, let's say, a 4-apartment building or anything dealing with big rental developments. These are the single-family owners, because what the government wants to do, and which is a good idea, is to open up the single-family homes for people who actually want to buy it. One of my pet peeves is what's going on in Hampton. There's a lot of construction going on, but a lot of it is rental homes and not condos, what I'm seeing. And that's going to be a little bit upset because it would be nice to um, perhaps have half of the development for home ownership. But it seems a lot of it is just rentals. It'll be nice to give the people the opportunity to own the property. That's my little pet peeve, and that's all I'm going to say on that. So what they might also do, there might be government-sponsored construction. All right, the government comes in and starts building affordable income. You know, it will also create jobs, right? Create more people to go into construction to help with the building. All right, so again, when we have the government step in and doing type of things that entrepreneurs would do, there's always a battle over that. But it's not a bad idea, okay? So this hasn't come or been approved by Congress yet, but Biden's first-time homebuyers tax credit, what they're saying is they give new home buyers like $15,000. That's great, but it's actually adding more people into the market to buy homes with very little inventory. All right. Now, some things that sound good, but that might not be that good for some people, is to put down expiration on the forbearance plan. So if people have not been able to pay their rent by a certain time, that they have to leave. All right. And then hopefully people could these homes could be available for home buyers. That'll be good. Hold on, I just have to. This is a family thing. Okay, I'll just do that fast. All right. But putting out those forbearance, of course, is going to create more people who are losing their dwellings. So having the forbearance for if the owner of that investment property wants to sell, it could be a good thing to creating more inventory. But the negative side is that the people are then taking out of the homes. But I'm hoping that pretty soon that the people who had to or have problems with paying their rent, that they will soon be back to work. Okay. And another thing is going again with foreclosures or getting people out of homes. Unfortunately, another possible way to increase inventory is to fast-track vacant homes in foreclosure. These homes are detrimental to health and safety, and putting these homes into the market won't displace families, but is there any way to facilitate those homes in the market? So what they're saying, if it's foreclosed and the people are out already. But there's always more, bank proceedings and legal proceedings than with foreclosures. Just fast track that process to get more homes on the market. And the other thing that may happen is that, well, probably will happen anyway, is that mortgage rates will go up. Now, of course, there's good things about that, and there's bad things about that. Oops, all right, well, anyway, I'll just bring up this other graphic. I'll close this out here, and I should be nice and big. All right. So by doing that, it kind of, throws some water on this hot buyer's market we have right now. Because people say, well, now the rates are going up. I might wait a little bit longer. I might wait till I get an increase in pay. All right. And as rates go up, the people who are eligible for, let's say, a $200,000 house, as those rates go up, now they might only be eligible for a $180,000 house. Okay. So that kind of puts some brakes on the market by doing that. and more homes will stay longer on the market. For people who could still afford it, would be looking at those homes. So that's another way to cool down the market. All right. So to recap, it's not the same as 2007. It's not a housing bubble because the economy is going strong and the lenders have really tightened up on the requirements for getting a loan. All right. And what are ways we could build up more housing inventories by giving tax incentives like cutting capital gains and invest tax for the owners who are investors. So push them to perhaps sell their homes. They could also tax higher the single family investor. All right. So if they say, well, it's too expensive to keep this house, I'm going to sell it, then it goes to the open market for the owner occupant buyer. All right. And hopefully the government will stimulate more construction, okay, with Biden's infrastructure plan, which is important, and to make affordable housing. And the possibility of, well, I don't think it's a possibility. I think mortgage rates will go up, but that will kind of put a, like I said, we'll throw some cold water on this very hot market right now. So that's all for today. I was going to show another small film, but with the way the internet, it's under a minute. I'm going to show that, and it's a why buying a house is better than buying stock, but not to flip. Like we talked about 2007 condo flipping, but your equity continues to grow. So let me just show that. Okay, again, I apologize that we are having technical difficulties, but I'm still going to. I heard that my producer, Leonard, has somebody in the audience, a famous star in our audience, so I'm going to sign off. I'm going to hand it over to Leonard and then sign off again. Wear your mask. Keep 6 feet away. Wash your hands. We're pretty much getting out of this horror. Let's keep it going, all right? And most of all, be kind to each other. I always say the greatest power we have is to love, and the greatest gift we have is each other, okay? So I'll see you next week. And so, Leonard, we have a famous guest in the audience.
Chris. Great news. We have a special guest in the audience. He is an American film and stage actor. His performances in classical Hollywood cinema films made him an American cultural icon. In 1999, the American Film Institute selected him as the greatest male star of classic American cinema. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Humphrey Bogart.